to another part of the estate. This is the RV building where I've kind of put some of the emotional cars in here that don't fit the hypercars. We start off with what my wife affectionately calls the Ladybug, which is the Isetta 1957, which was almost a throwaway car. 13 horsepower. Takes 2 minutes to get up to 50 miles an hour, and once you hit 50, you're probably scared for your life in the car. But it's one, if you drive, everybody stops and looks at it. The thing I always love to do is ask people, do you know why that has a cloth roof? And so far everybody's been pretty much stumped, and the reason being is if you get in an accident, the front of the car opens up as a door. So if you're in an accident, the door's kind of jammed shut and you need to get out of the car so you can climb out through the roof. And just a fun little car. It takes up a half a garage spot, so it's always nice to have in the collection. In the collection is the first car I can remember as a kid, 59 Corvette, Roman red. Twin Hollies in it, rock crusher transmission. It's both a convertible and a hardtop, and just an absolute dream to drive. You put this one on the road and everybody recognizes these old Corvettes, and they're loved. I haven't found anybody that doesn't like the car. Also in the collection here are two 356 Porsches. One is a coupe with a sunroof, which is kind of unusual to have the sunroof, and also a cabriolet. So in the collection of the classics, I usually try and have a coupe and a cabriolet. I call them the bookends. When you look at this 356 cabriolet, one of the kind of secret things about the car is it's not painted guards red. It's actually Rosa Corsa. Same color as the Ferraris. And Cam Ingram did the restoration. When it came time to paint the car, I wanted it Rosa Corsa because it has a little deeper body to the color. And they really didn't want to paint it Rosa Corsa because it wasn't a Porsche color. And I said, it's going in the collection. It'll be with other cars just like it. And let's paint it the color. And after the debate, it was finally, the car is mine, please paint it the color I want. So Cam did a great job, painted the car, was in the showroom before I got it, and people were coming in saying it's the most beautiful red Porsche we've ever seen. What's your secret in the paint job? And he said, no, it's just kind of the way we polish it out. And you really can't tell till you see them side by side. And the funny story Cam tells me is that a collector came in and said, man, that is a beautiful red Porsche, but it's Rosa Corsa. And because he was a Ferrari guy, he knew the color. So it's kind of a little secret when you look at the cars, and they turned out spectacular. Also here is the new Speedster, which is an unbelievable fun car to drive. A manual top on the thing. I got in it and expected to be able to hit a button and have the top go down, and nope, you got to do it manually yourself. But just a fun car to drive, old school. Porsche did a nice job. And then also here in the building is a GT2 RS, 750 horsepower, unbelievable feat of engineering by Porsche. And I call it give me a ticket kind of car. When you get in it, you know somebody's going to pull you over, but just fun to drive. And of course, the oldest car in the collection, 1931 Ford Woody. Completely authentic. The engine sounds like chitty chitty bang bang, kind of out of the movie. It kind of rattles, and it will do 55 miles an hour, but be careful because it makes a lot of noise and wiggles. But this one also stops traffic and has our winery logo on the side of the doors, and it's quite a feature for our winery and the collection. Earlier, we took a look at the Center of Effort Vineyard Winery and Estate property and saw the hypercars in the showroom, and we saw the emotional cars in the RV storage building. Here today, we're at the estate garage. This is right next to our house up on the hill. It houses our classic cars. The classics are mainly from around the 60s. It's a period of time when cars really had some styling and performance. Every car in the collection here looks like the day it came off the showroom floor. And that's part of the thing of returning these cars to a point where they exist in history, and we hope that others get the opportunity to see these cars because we believe we're stewards of these classic cars and returning them back to where they can be enjoyed. When you look at the Gullwing and the Roadster and the Corvette, you can see where guys stole a little bit from each other in how they look. And so for me, you look at the Cobras, they were somewhat unique in the sense that Carroll Shelby was looking more for a race market than something else, where these other cars were really set up for a GT kind of touring driving. And each one is a little bit different in a sense to drive. I was surprised how well this drove. Bought by Prince of Milan, that it was a wedding gift for a couple in Switzerland. And when the car was finished, we showed it 2012 in Cavallino, and we were looking for a platinum award. Car not only got platinum, it got best in class, but it also won best of show. And it's the first time I had ever shown a car. And Paul Russell reminded me that it usually doesn't work this way. So very special car, one of our favorites in the collection. It's timeless. Looks like it'd be on a showroom floor today. And the balancing power and handling of the car is just remarkable. If I had to pick of anything in the collection, you're allowed one car. It's really, really hard, but the 275 would win it just because the grace, the styling, the performance, the handling, the balance, everything just seems in tune with the car. And this one happens to be priceless, and we enjoy it. It gets out. It's due this year. As soon as the pandemic gets more under control, we'll ship it back to Paul Russell. Every 3 to 5 years, the cars go back for a complete service and check out, and keeps them in on-lawn condition any day of the week. So it's probably the centerpiece of the collection. Next, we were fortunate to pick up this car. It's a 63. They made about 350 of them. It's probably the only car in the collection that's got tan interior. And we keep thinking about changing it, but everything on the car is spectacular. And great handling car. Real tribute to Ferrari in making a passenger car that was a good GT car. Next to it is another car that's the first one in the collection, really. I had always lusted after a Gullwing, and this is a 55, red black interior, special Rudge wheels, which are unusual. They were in the minority coming out of Germany. Great car, handles still well. It's amazing, these cars, they can sit for a month or two and you get in them and pull the choke, and third or fourth crank, the car is running and running well. They run real cool because they hold a ton of oil, but great German engineering. There's a 300 SL Roadster that looks just like this that won Best in Show here at a local concours. And so we have both the coupe and the convertible, and the bookends. It usually sits right next to this, but we used it on the Colorado Grand, put 1,000 miles on it, and then sent it back to to get spruced up again to return to the collection. Here we have two Cobras, a 289 and a 427. Both were done by Mark Allen, Rare Drive, and he's noted for Cobras and Ford GTs. The 289 is more of a, what I call the girly car. We showed it with white sidewalls and wire wheels. It finished third at Pebble against two of Carroll Shelby's race cars in the year that they featured Cobras. Next is a 427 that's just a beast. You can see why they were so special, so much horsepower in such a light car. And this one won second place at Pebble Beach, just perfectly restored. The other two here in the garage start with the DB5 Cabriolet, a very special car in the sense that it was serial number 3. Serial number 4 was the James Bond car. This Cabriolet we found in Switzerland. It was originally black on black, but in doing all the research and looking at all the brochures, we found that the car was originally sold with a red exterior and a black interior. So we had all the old literature and returned the car just the way the sales brochure was back in the day of the car. Very good handling car. It's been on a rally. It's been driven. Runs like a dream and looks like a piece of jewelry. Probably the premier of the collection is the 250 Pininfarina Series 1 Cabriolet. This was shown at Pebble Beach in 2018. It won Best of Class. In the Ferrari class, they have their own judges. I think it's one of the toughest classes at Pebble Beach. And for a car to get the blue ribbon or best in class is, like for me, like winning the Super Bowl. The car is absolutely exquisite. Paul Russell and Company did the restoration on this, and and it also won the Judges Award at Cavallino. A spectacular car, handles like a dream, and right now we have the other book into this, a 1959 Tour de France that's being restored, and we hope to show that in 2021 or 2022 at Pebble Beach. The Series 1 is the same car. The California was actually a cheaper car when it was sold originally compared to the Series 1, the Cabriolet here. Prices have been higher, but as a mechanical engineer, what I love about this car is perfect symmetry, from the nose to the tail to the curved lines of the fenders. When you look at this car, it is elegantly designed and has what I call the element of symmetry that makes the car so much more beautiful to me than a California, even though it's in more demand and people like it. But when you see this car finished like this, it's just spectacular. Ferrari wasn't that painstakingly accurate when they shipped their cars. When the restorers get them, they have to really decide what were they doing when they produced the car, because you can over-restore these things and they're not the way they were built. One, mentally, for me, when I go to Pebble Beach, just getting on the lawn is an unbelievable feeling, because you know thousands of cars are put in applications and that 200 cars make the lawn. And when you know you're on the lawn, you've got a car that the evaluators think is really special and that people will like. And then when you finally get the phone notification that you're one of the 3, it's like, oh my goodness. But then somehow the anxiety kicks in at that point. There's, for me, no anxiety until you're 3. And then you're sitting there, and then the way they do it is, guy looks at all three cars. You don't know if he's looking at you or the other guy, and then he taps number 3. And now you're sitting there going, you're either 1 or 2, and you're trying to read it of what's there. You're looking at the other car, and then they tap the other car, and you know at that point that you've won best in class. And it's an unbelievable feeling. For me, it's the satisfaction of the team that worked on the car. Every one of our cars, we have seen them go in, we've seen them at the frame, and we've seen them finished. And just the joy of knowing that everybody put their heart and soul into the car, that the car was recognized for their fine work.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to click subscribe, comment, and like for more videos like this one.